Okay, let's get into this. Welcome, everyone, to our deep dive. Today, we're looking at just one specific source, actually. An excerpt.
Right, from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica, a classic text.
Exactly. And the subject is Areca Catechu. You probably know it as betel nut.
Mm-hmm. And while it has a certain cultural image, this text looks at it quite differently, doesn't it, from a historical therapeutic angle?
That's the mission here. We want to see what details this specific medical text recorded about its properties. Maybe things you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and what's interesting, right off the bat, is how specific the physiological details are in just this one entry.
It really is. So it kicks off mentioning a sort of traditional use.
Yeah, it lists it for helminthiasis.
Helminthiasis.
Oh.
Okay, so treating worms. That makes sense as a historical, maybe anti-parasitic idea.
But then it goes deeper almost immediately. It focuses right in on its alkaloid.
Yes. Areal anhydrobrom. That's the one. And it makes a very specific point about it.
It does. It says this compound powerfully contracts the pupil.
And what's really striking, I think, is the comparison it makes right there in the text.
You mean with S-serine?
Exactly. It says areal anhydrobrom acts more promptly and energetically than ezerine in contracting the pupil.
Right. And S-serine, well, many people might know it as physostigmine, also used for pupil contraction. So for this text to compare speed and strength, that's pretty telling.
It shows a real level of detailed observation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it doesn't stop there. It notes this specific effect, the pupil thing, makes it serviceable in glaucoma.
So a potential clinical use derives straight from that observation.
Which kind of highlights the empirical side of these old texts. They weren't just like listing folklore, they documented observable effects.
The specific effects, yeah.
Oh,
and then trying to figure out where they might be useful.
And it wasn't just the eye either. The text also notes areal anhydrobrom is as a salivatory like pilocarpin.
Pilocarpin. Another one we know today, specifically for stimulating saliva, other secretions.
Mm-hmm. So this alkaloid was seen to do something similar, promoting salivation.
It's interesting how it connects these different bodily effects. The next thing mentioned is the heart.
Yeah, it says it increases the amplitude of pulsations of the heart.
Increases amplitude.
Yeah.
So essentially making the heartbeat feel, stronger, fuller?
Seems like it. Another distinct physiological action they observed for this one substance.
And then kind of bringing it full circle back towards that initial use.
The worms, yeah.
It notes that it promotes the contractility of the intestines.
Well, that fits perfectly, doesn't it? If you're thinking about treating worms, stimulating the gut helps physically push them out.
Right. It connects that physiological action back to the therapeutic aim. Makes sense.
So if we pull back a bit from just this one quite dense entry on betel nut, what are the key takeaways here?
Well, we start with a substance known for traditional use, helminthiasis.
Treating worms.
But it's quickly detailed down to its specific alkaloid, areal anhydrobrom.
And for that compound, the text lists this, surprising range of effects, really.
Yeah, on the eye. With that direct comparison to ezerine and the mention of glaucoma.
Then the salivatory effect compared to pilocarpin.
An impact on the heart's amplitude.
And finally, stimulating intestinal movement, all from this one alkaloid.
It really does underline that these historical materia medicas, or at least this entry, went beyond just general use. It was about documenting specific observable effects.
Yeah, it's a fascinating little window into how they viewed and recorded natural substances from that particular medical standpoint.
Definitely. So here's something maybe for you to think about. Considering how specific these observations were, the comparisons, the different effects noted for betel nut in this text, what does that suggest to you about the methods, maybe the focus of how they studied natural substances back then? What were they looking for?